webinar is how to create a custom LaTeX that works with Jupyter Notebooks, and MyST Markdown. I'm Rowan Cockett. I'm the co-founder and CEO of CurveNote, and I also work on the Executable Books team. And on the call today, we also have Steve and Franklin, who are also at CurveNote and also on the Executable Books team. And so today, we're going to so this is the MyST templates workshop. So this is ways to create LaTeX templates today using some of the tools in the MyST ecosystem. And so I'm going to give a little bit of a background on MyST Markdown, a quick demo of the different ways to use these templates in scientific writing, and a little bit of an overview of how the whole process works. And then we're going to dive in. I'm going to be working through with Steve sort of live on the call in a way that people can hopefully keep up and port their own templates as well while asking questions. And Franklin and Steve will be monitoring the chat and can answer any questions and help get stuck. And I think we'll also have a lot of chance to turn cameras on, ask questions, and work through that at the end. And so this event is being recorded, the first half, which is the presentation, and then we'll stop the recording about 30 minutes in, and then transition more into a workshop. And so people can ask questions and not be recorded doing that. Awesome. Okay, so MyST Markdown and the MyST ecosystem is part of the Executable Books project. And that is a project that is a Sloan-funded grant that has a lot of different stakeholders across the scientific and academic publishing community. CurveNote and some of our team members are part of that community. And so we're really working with the Executable Books team on bringing some of these computational tools and writing tools to life. And so those of you who are maybe familiar with Executable Books might know them because of Jupyter Book. And Jupyter Book is a tool that turns your Markdown documents and Jupyter Notebooks into a website that you can share. And this is really great for computational tutorials and educational materials, and creating those websites for students. And some of the things that we've been thinking about as a community is how you take these websites and turn them into more publishable artifacts, and publishable in the sort of scientific sense. And so that means today, and some of the stuff that we'll be working on, is how to make that into PDF documents, but also thinking about Word documents, LaTeX, making sure that we remain interactive and that we have data attached and sort of reproducibility practices, as well as live code and JATS, if people are familiar with that as a standard in scientific publishing. And we want this to be accessible in Jupyter and in some other interactive development environments like VS Code. And we want it to be super fast. And some of the choices that we've been using up till now are not able to do all of these different things. And so we've really been thinking about different types of tools to do all of this cool science communication stuff, and get it out, get your content out so that you can write it once and export it into all of these medium, and also use it inside of Jupyter Notebooks and make sure it's super fast. And the tools that we've been working on are called MystJS, which are available on mysttools.org. And so what MystJS does, and sort of the MyST ecosystem in general, is it takes your Markdown documents and Jupyter Notebooks and parses them into this structured content. And that's really the superpower that allows us to export and use all of these different templates and websites and journal templates, and using other tools in the ecosystem to get out to Word documents, LaTeX, and PDF documents as well. And so that's a bit of a tour of the MyST ecosystem. So it's community-driven tools for the future of technical communication and publication, and really extending Markdown for really focusing on technical and science communication. And you can find the website at misttools.org. And so in the webinar today, we'll be focusing on taking Markdown notebooks that have been turned into structured content and using a templating language called JTech. The J here stands for Jinja, which is a popular templating language that we're adopting. And then you can get those out to LaTeX and build them into PDF documents. And really the goal here is that you write your content once and then can do a single line change in your MyST Markdown document or notebook, and then you can get your content out in all of these different formats, as well as the websites that are some of the really exciting stuff for interactivity and integrating computation. And so I'm going to give a little bit of a demo of this right now, of taking some content of a paper that I've written and turning that into a couple different templates. And so I will jump into demo mode here. Awesome. So this is a tutorial paper that I wrote that is written in MyST Markdown, which has this sort of content at the top, which is front matter, and you can see some of the export targets that we've started to create. And then we're starting to label the different pieces. We can have Markdown links, we can have admonitions as well, which show important. And so I'm going to, inside of this folder, just called MyST Start. And this brings up a local server that allows me to look at the work. And so this is that website pass that I was showing. Oops, let's open this in the other tab. Yep. And so this is an article view of that document, as well as the associated notebooks. And so you can see that there's cross references to figures. There's a couple different figures in here. There's some sections and various equations and all sorts of other scientific stuff, as well as only a few references in this one. And then this article was focused on being a tutorial. And so in this case, there's also Jupyter notebooks attached to this article. And so this is sort of a research compendium that we want to publish, but we also want this PDF out at the end of the day of the article part of this research. And so that's what I'm going to show over here, is that we can create an export field in our front matter and say that the format is PDF. That could also be TeX or Word. And then we're going to choose the template. And so if I just stop that server, and I'm going to now say MyST build, which is the command to build both the entire site as well as the various documents inside of it. And now I'm going to filter that down by just the PDF side. And so that's going to search through all of my different documents in this. And then it's going to find the plain LaTeX template, which I'll show you how we decided to do that in a second. And then it's going to render the PDF and export it. And we can open that now and just show that. And this is basically the very easiest plain LaTeX template out there that has these huge margins on the side, single column, has some of the figures in here. And so now we want to maybe tweak this a little bit and change the template instead. And so to see the templates available, we can say MyST templates list. And we can also, because we know we're looking for LaTeX templates, we can give it that TeX field. And this is what we will be adding to today. If you want to, you can also add your templates that you create to this list so that they're more widely available to the community, or those can be private templates as well. Awesome. Okay, so maybe we'll just quickly switch to a different template. One of my favorite preprint templates is this preprint template. And so I can copy the ID to that template and just bring it over here and hit save, and then redo that build command. And this one is going to take a tiny bit longer just because it uses a different BibTeX preprocessor. And so this should only take about 10 seconds, but it is much nicer, the actual template that comes out of it at the end of the day. And so this is the now the template, and so this is my content in the preprint template. And so it has a nice title. It has these data availability statements down the side and some keywords, and we're starting to highlight some things. There's also an appendix that got created down the bottom as well. And there's a couple other types of options that we can add here. And to do that, we can say MyST templates list again, but this time give it preprint as the argument, and then just again saying that it's a LaTeX template. And now, because we've asked for the specific options for that template, we're actually going to see all of the things that it supports. And so this is the type of data that we're going to be creating in today's webinar, such that we can make this accessible to other people or other documents that we create. And so in this case, there's a couple different parts that that the template supports. For example, creating an abstract, you can separate it with these this block break with data there, and then that part gets injected into the correct place in the LaTeX template. And then there's a couple of other options. We could turn on line numbers, for example, and to do that, we just come into this export list over here and say line numbers true, and maybe we want to change the theme color to red. And if we now save that and rebuild it, it will pick up on those two options as well. And so this is really sort of merging that data-driven nature of what we're trying to do with MyST, is creating all of the structured data such that you can use it and reuse it across many different templates. And so if we just open that up again, we can see now that there are line numbers on there, and it's red, and that has followed all the way through, and it is looking really great for being able to submit this to a preprint repository, for example. And there's other examples that we can start to list as well. We could look at submitting to an AGU journal, which is a journal in the geosciences. And this journal has a lot more guidance on availability statements and various types of things that they want to see in abstracts and plain language summaries and acknowledgements, as well as the journal name and that sort of stuff. And so there's a lot of different things that we could very easily change to change the template, change these things, and we're really only changing about 4 lines of our document, and we're able to get our paper out in many different formats. And so that is the goal of creating these templates that can be sort of reused by the community. And the MyST community is interested in creating and curating a large set of these templates so that it's very easy for scientists to submit to any sort of journal, and we can make sure that those are super high quality out there. And so I showed you a little bit about this. Is choosing a template is using the MyST command line tool to list the templates available, and that gives you the high level information. And then inside of the front matter in your document, you can change this template field to the template that you are looking to use. And so that sort of comes down to what actually is the template. And what the template is this Jinja-based templating language that's adapted for use in LaTeX. And so if you're familiar with LaTeX, you can sort of imagine that there's a template tech, and then there's a place to put imports, there's a place to input the document title, there's ways to put authors and affiliations in, and then you put the content in, and possibly other different parts of your document that are in sort of special forms like plain language summaries or abstracts or acknowledgements. And accompanying this, there is sort of this data-driven template YAML file that is alongside of all of those different files. And so this lists out the details of the actual template. So this is the title of the template, like that La Preprint or AGU 2019, as well as the description, who created the templates, and then some of those options that we were starting to show, like the theme color, or if it's in draft and should have line numbers. And so these are the types of things that we're going to start adding today. And that's using a tool called JTech to do that. And so how it works is your content is parsed by MyST over here. And so that's Jupyter Notebooks and MyST Markdown. And that comes into a structured form, this abstract syntax tree. And then we pull in using that template, as well as able to convert it into LaTeX. And then those two pieces, sort of the template and your content translated, are combined into a single LaTeX document. And then that is compiled as usual into a PDF document. And so that's sort of the process that we're going to be working towards today in this webinar. And really thinking about and using this, both the MyST tooling as well as the JTech command line interface. And at the end of the day, that MyST templates list command is looking to this MyST templates community repository that's stewarded by Executable Books, such that we can have different LaTeX, Microsoft Word, HTML templates over time, so that it's really easy to translate and showcase your MyST content in many different ways in the community. And so there's ways to contribute the templates, either by bringing it into this repository or just listing it as a template that other people can use and stewarding it in your own control. And so that is a little bit of a background of MyST Markdown. Again, a quick demo of using the templates and really changing it quickly. And then a little bit of a background on templates, and we'll be going through a lot of the documentation today, especially in the in sort of the tutorial part of this workshop. And in the next steps, we'll sort of be going through getting started with the open source tool, using an example repository that I was showing. And then the workshop is really going to be about porting a template maybe that you've chosen, or going through some of the work that we've that we're going to do in terms of changing over a template that someone in the community has asked us to do. Awesome. Okay, so to create a new template, right now we're mostly focused on these sort of single articles or reports. We're definitely going to be expanding that scope into books and academic theses in the future, but right now we have a little bit less support for this sort of multi-article export, and so the PDFs are focused on sort of these single documents, either an article or a report, even though it can import content from a Jupyter notebook, for example. And this does, as we go through this, it will require some basic LaTeX skills, as well as having LaTeX installed locally. And you will need some example content, and we do have that example that I was working with of this Pixels and Your Neighbors document with the multiple notebooks, and we can use that to start with, or if you have your own MyST content, you can use that as well. And then there's two command line tools that we'll need today. We need the MyST CLI and JTech, which are at those versions currently. And you can install those using Node Package Manager. and just install them globally. Awesome. And then today, Steve and I are going to be sort of talking out loud and talking through converting a template that someone in the community is asked for, and that is the International Society for Photogrammetry and Remote Sensing. And that is a pretty standard LaTeX template. And so we'll be going through it, changing over the title, changing abstracts, authors, affiliations, and working through any of the bugs as we go, and sort of showing how to work through that. And so all of the things that I'm going to show today are documented on misttools.org. And so if you go to misttools.org and go to the projects tab and go down to LaTeX templates, then you'll see that there's an overview. You can see where the MIST templates organization that has a lot of examples of other templates that have been ported over. And then a step-by-step guide that we'll be sort of going through in the next hour and a half of creating these templates and actually making that all work together with MIST. And so at this stage, I'm going to switch from sort of presentation mode into workshop mode, maybe take any questions to start with, and then we can start diving in, and Steve and I will go through translating that template.